This is day 1, episode 4 of my modular journey. And today I'm going to be talking about clocks, or in this particular case, a clock. My favorite clock, because it's my only clock. But Pamela's new workout, I had no idea what they were talking about when I first heard about it, mentioned in various patch notes and things like that. But Pamela's new workout is this 8-port clock. So it has 8 outputs with 8 configurable different things that can happen on each one. Either it can be just gates or wave shapes like sines and triangles and randoms. There's so much to it. LFOs, there's level controls, there's offsets, there's random skippers inside. Each one of these can be skipped. There's Euclidean steps inside each one of them, again, for eight different Euclidean, quantizers. Look, you heard me getting all excited, right? Each channel can also be quantized, so you could take that random or waveforms and quantize them into scales. And then, of course, it's got some logic options as well. And a whole bunch more. There's the other interesting part about it, of course, is the just the clock aspect itself, because it's got the multipliers and dividers. It can also be synced through clock and run, which is mentioned over here on the MIDI, clock and run. So when I click the play button on my sequencer, it'll actually start Pamela's as well as a slave. And then there's these inputs. So when you set every one of these outputs, you have something. What is the source of whatever it's going to do? And it could be a CV. You could assign them to do 2 different CVs. So for this particular episode, I'm going to just plug this guy in, or gal in. And then we're going to turn it on. All right, she's mounted. Let's get it some power. Basically, what I'm going to look at first is I'm going to look at, here is my beats per minute of the patch that I'm going to be supplying things to. It's got these 8 different channels of settings. It's got these clock dividers or multipliers, depending on which mode you're in. Once you get to one of the 8 channels, if you long push, you get into the actual wave shapes here. There's a gate, triangle, sine, envelope, which actually I only discovered recently what it does, and that's pretty cool. Different ways you can use it. There's a random and then a slew random. And then, of course, the CV 1 and 2. So, where was that? It was over here on wave. So then it has level. Like in level, I learned takes, like if there's a sine wave going from -5 to +5, this level will actually shrink that down, so it's only a couple of volts. You'll find out as you're going through these things, you find out if you can control your LFOs. It's even more fascinating than just letting them run wild. The random skipper was pretty amazing, because I actually bought a skipper before I realized Pamela had one in here. But then again, Pamela is probably going to be pretty busy doing other work, so the other skippers are not going to hurt. Euclidean steps, triggers, rotators, the loopers. Here's the quantizing, logic, some slop, and that's it. I mean, it really has a whole lot of things per channel, which is what's amazing. So that really kind of sums up exactly why I bought it, as well as how I plan to use it all in one. This module was about $275. So not cheap, but it's also pretty amazing how much stuff it can do. It is literally the heartbeat of the rack, and with these 8 different channels, I can control a lot of stuff. So that's it for episode 4 with Pamela's new workout, the heartbeat of the rack. And coming up next, I will actually install an oscillator, mutable instruments plates, and be able to start showing some of the things that all of these devices can do now that we'll have some noise in the rack. So stay tuned.